Above the Yu Kingdom's diplomatic quarters, a bloody massacre was about to unfold. At this time, in a secret room in the Chan Kingdom, Chan King and others were holding a secret meeting. Chan King asked, Urutai, are you sure the vaccine Shenlang made was extracted from the pus of cattle? Urutai nodded. Yes, father. The 3 spies we sent to follow him all saw Shenlang's procedure with their own eyes. Chan King chuckled coldly. If that's the case, then there's no need to keep Shenlang around. Although he saved my life and the lives of everyone in Chan Kingdom, if it weren't for the Su family, I might actually regret killing him. After saying this, Chan King gave a meaningful look at Su Yong next to him. Su Yong was instantly alarmed. This was the 150,000 gold coins that had just been delivered. Was Urutai, this insatiable man, trying to extort more money from the Su family? At that moment, the silent Sumo quickly interjected. Congratulations, my king. You now have the formula for the smallpox vaccine. You will become the savior of all the people of Chan Kingdom. Chan King thought for a moment and then asked, how many people has Shenlang vaccinated so far? Urutai respectfully replied, so far, tens of thousands have been vaccinated, but there are still hundreds of thousands of people waiting. Chan King laughed heartily. Excellent, let us save the rest of the people. However, since the vaccine is a divine medicine, if they cherish their lives so much and want to be vaccinated, they must pay a price. At this time, Suyong spoke up. Your Majesty, please accept these gold coins along with Master Kuhai. My Su family has only one request. Please kill all members of the Yu Kingdom's delegation and deliver Shenlang's head to me to take back to the Su family. Chan King immediately agreed, then looked at Kuhai. Kuhai High Priest, it will be your honor to personally take action tonight. Sumo also said, Chan King sympathizes with Master Kuhai, and after discussing it, we decided to gift Snow Mountain Temple 1,000 monk soldiers to assist in the battle. Please accept them. Master Kuhai performed a bow and said, Shenlang is merely 100 men in terms of military strength. Killing them all is as easy as blowing off dust, but since Chan King and the Queen are so considerate, I will accept it. Half an hour later, Kuhai arrived in the northern wilderness and began to motivate the monk soldiers. Shenlang has desecrated our Snow Mountain Temple's divine faith. Together, we will flatten the holy temple of Yu Kingdom, exterminate all members of the Yu Kingdom's delegation, and offer them as a sacrifice to the heavens. As his words ended, the 2,500 monk soldiers became as energized as if injected with adrenaline. Their morale soared, blood boiled, and the sounds of their war cries continued unceasingly. Kuhai sneered inwardly. Shenlang, tonight you better wash your neck clean, as I'm coming to take your head. The scene shifted to Aranana's quarantine room, where at that moment, Big Fool was carefully peeling an orange. Big Fool handed the peeled orange to Aranana's lips and said, Wife, Second Fool says we need to leave, so I came to say goodbye. Arunana was startled. Leave? Why leave? You're already mine. You should stay by my side forever. Big Fool scratched his head. That won't do. I have to go back with Second Fool and then wait for my master to find me. Arunana became even more anxious and hastily grabbed him asking, But I'm your wife. What will I do if you leave? You must choose between me and Second Fool. Big Fool was at a loss, but after a moment still said, Second Fool is my brother. Arunana retorted, unsatisfied, But I am your wife. Big Fool firmly said, I choose Second Fool. At these words, Arunana was so angry she was left speechless. After all, Big Fool was not wrong. One shouldn't expect him to abandon his brother for a woman. Seeing that Arunana didn't say anything, thinking she agreed, Big Fool prepared to leave. Suddenly, Arunana stood up abruptly, fuming. Is Shenlang out of his mind? Who travels at night? And it looks like it's going to rain. Big Fool shook his head. No, no, no. Tonight is for fighting. Arunana was taken aback. Fighting? What fight? Big Fool thought for a moment, then said, I don't really know, but since Second Fool says we're going to fight, let's do it. Saying this, he picked up his giant sword and walked out of the quarantine house. Arunana had not yet recovered from her shock. Is my father going to make a move against Shenlang and the others? Seemingly to confirm her guess, Arunana rushed into the royal palace, reached the secret room, pushed open the door, and indeed found her father conspiring with a group of people she disliked. Especially seeing Sumo, who wanted to contest her mother's position, filled her with rage. At that moment, Arunana couldn't care less about etiquette and loudly confronted, Are you the ones going to attack the Yu Kingdom delegation to kill Shenlang and his group? Chan King glanced at her, saying nothing, but Sumo spoke up. The holy temple built by Shenlang has offended the beliefs of Snow Mountain Temple, so High Priest Kuhai has decided to send monk soldiers to teach them a lesson and destroy that temple. Urutai wanted to persuade his sister not to interfere, but Arunana pushed him forcefully away. Father, Shenlang has saved your life. Moreover, he has saved the lives of the entire Chan Kingdom's people. He has shown us great kindness. Why would you repay kindness with enmity? Chan King instantly became furious, stood up, and approached Arunana. Chan King coldly said to Arunana, Nana, remember this. We Chan people always seek revenge, never gratitude. As for that fool, Big Fool, just forget about him. Sumo took the opportunity to continue. Exactly. How can our proud Chan Kingdom princess marry a fool? Don't worry, Nana. We've already chosen a husband for you, the infamous three-eyed evil. Only his presence is worthy of you. Upon hearing these words, Arunana was in disbelief. Her father, whom she had respected all her life, was planning to kill her husband and marry her off to to the notorious bandit Three-Eyed Evil. Was this the same father who had once treated her like a precious gem? Since she had become ill, her family had not visited her once. From that moment on, they were no longer family to her, and Shenlang, although not likable, had saved her and the entire Chan Kingdom. The only ones by her side had been Big Fool and Shenlang's people. Arunana felt extreme disappointment, and at this moment, she saw them only as wolves in human skin, not deserving to be called human. With these thoughts, Arunana hesitated no longer and ran out. Since her family had abandoned her, she would stand by her husband and fight against these wolves and leopards together. Meanwhile, inside the holy temple, Shen 13 was also busily and orderly directing all the soldiers. The soldiers, numbering just over 100 from the Heavenly Path Society, actually did not have many men. Despite the small numbers, their morale was not weak. Watching these soldiers, Shenlang felt confident. Don't worry, brothers, we are sure to win this battle. As the thunder continued to rumble in the sky, Shenlang was busily preparing for the final battle with Chan Kingdom inside the holy temple. Meanwhile, inside the Yu Kingdom Palace, Sovereign Ning Yuanxian stood outside the Grand Hall, looking at the overcast sky, his heart filled with anxiety. It's been over a month since I've heard from Shenlang. His bold promises then are probably now shattered by Chan King and fed to the dogs. He thought of Chan King's brutal and cruel demeanor and sighed. Shenlang, that pretty boy, is still too young. If he survives and manages to escape back here, consider it a lesson for him. At this time, inside the Chan Kingdom's holy temple, Shenlang's battle plans had been fully deployed. Suddenly, Aranana's figure appeared outside the temple. Holding the green dragon crescent blade, she stood menacingly at the entrance. Her presence combined with the lightning and thunder in the background, one might think she was there to slaughter the temple. She shouted loudly, Shenlang, I'm here. Tonight, I will fight alongside Big Fool and you. Hearing Aranana's voice, Shenlang glanced at her, seemingly unsurprised by her arrival, and walked up to her saying, Princess Nana, I've been waiting for you. Come quickly into the small tent with me. I need your help to save your master next, Shenlang said. Arunana, puzzled, replied. Shenlang knew I was coming. Save my master? What do you mean by that? She walked into the small tent, and when she saw Shuayin hanging there, she was stunned. Shenlang's voice rang out again. I'm about to start the final step of the treatment. Wang Feng's power isn't as strong as yours, so you'll need to assist me now. Hearing this, Arunana finally realized what was happening and uncontrollably began to cry. Shenlang, what has happened to my master? What illness does she have? Shenlang sighed and explained. Auntie was poisoned by Floating Mountain's cursed poison years ago. She probably didn't want to worry you, so she never told you. Up until now, she has survived thanks to the smallpox virus in her body. I'm about to start detoxifying her. You must cooperate closely with me. He handed Arunana a needle. Take this needle, listen to my directions, and inject it where I tell you to. Shenlang then picked up another needle, crouched down, and stabbed it into Shuayan's heel, drawing blood containing the cursed bug into a test tube. Then, he took the essence of the golden bloodline extracted from Big Fool's body and mixed it into the blood. As soon as it made contact, the blood in the test tube began to fizz and boil, and Shuayan's body quickly turned a warm red. Shenlang knew this was the cursed bugs in her body reacting to the power of the golden bloodline. Soon, through his X-ray vision, Shenlang saw the flow rate of the blood in the test tube gradually slow down, while the number of cursed bugs kept increasing. If this continues, in a few minutes, all the cursed bugs in Shuayan's body will be cleaned out. 5 minutes later, the operation finally ended, but then he discovered that the most important mother bug had not appeared. Subsequently, under the scan of his penetrating vision, he saw a cursed bug as thick as a blood vessel slowly emerging from the cardiac vessels of Shuayin. Due to its size, even the allure of the golden bloodline's essence could only make it move slowly. When this cursed bug moved to the thigh, avoiding the arterial blood vessels, at Shenlang's command, Aranana's needle quickly stabbed in. Shenlang took over and began the surgery rapidly. During this, he did not forget to remind Arunana, when I extract the cursed bug, be sure to immediately seal the wound with true energy to prevent excessive blood loss. Moments later, a 3-centimeter long cursed bug was successfully extracted, and not until it was sealed in a test tube did Shenlang finally breathe a sigh of relief. The most troublesome problem has finally been solved. Just then, the voice of Shen 13 came from outside the door. The monk soldiers of Snow Mountain Temple have surrounded the temple. Upon hearing this, Shenlang, looking at the cursed bug in his hand, revealed a confident smile and said, if so, then let's begin. Today is the day I, Shenlang, claim a complete victory. Outside the temple, lightning intertwined in the sky, and the thunder continued relentlessly. At this moment, the 2,500 monk soldiers surrounding the temple, illuminated by the flashes of lightning, appeared extremely fierce and terrifying. Seeing this scene, the two Heavenly Path Society warriors standing at the entrance were so frightened that their legs went weak. Oh my god, these are not monks. They are like vicious ghosts that eat people without spitting out bones. Not to mention, Chan Kingdom's forces were much stronger than theirs, and with this huge numerical disparity, they were practically being sent to their deaths. Even the usually calm Huang Feng was feeling a bit panicked. The temple Shenlang had built was just hastily assembled from wood and tarpaulin, without any real defenses. Once these monk soldiers soldiers charged. Their little group of over 100 could not possibly hold them off. But Shenlang remained composed, which made one wonder, what exactly does he plan to do? Unbeknownst to them, Shenlang had long planned for this battle. He had instructed the Heavenly Path Society to bring several carts of iron rods, iron wires, and copper wires while transporting mirrors. Then, on the night the temple was completed, they had wrapped these materials under the tarpaulin and even buried countless iron and copper wires in the ground around it, creating a gigantic lightning attractor. At that moment, Shenlang commanded, "Big Fool, cut off the lightning rod." Before the words had fallen, Big Fool swung his sword and cut the lightning rod planted in the ground. Big Fool's sword directly severed the lightning rod. The iron poles on the roof instantly fell, connecting the top iron wire mesh. Everything was ready, just missing the lightning. Tonight, let them experience the thrill of the electric grid, Shenlang thought with a cold laugh. However, at that moment outside the temple, Shenlang's calmness did not alert Kuhai. Raising the crescent shovel in his hand, he bellowed, "The Yu Kingdom people have built a temple on our Chan Kingdom's land, desecrating our snow mountain celestial spirits. Now, let us cleanse these Yu Kingdom people and purify our land." As his words fell, all the monk soldiers, with an earth-shattering killing intent, shouted their slogans and charged toward the temple. The several Heavenly Path Society warriors standing at the door could no longer bear the murderous intent and fell to their knees, pleading continuously. Although the Jin family's soldiers were fearful, they despised the performance of the Heavenly Path Society warriors and stood their ground, clenching their teeth, vowing not to retreat. Just as the monk soldiers were about to charge into the temple, a bolt of lightning, like a giant dragon, struck directly at the iron pillar on the roof. Numerous currents spread quickly like a spider web all around, and in an instant, these fierce monk soldiers were enveloped by the immense electricity. Within a few seconds, hundreds of monk soldiers were burned to cinders. Seeing this horrifying scene, the soldiers behind them instantly fell into disarray, and their formation began to break apart. Could it be that our attack on the temple has angered the celestial spirits? Are the gods angry? The monk soldiers murmured in terror. Just then, a cold voice came from inside the temple. This temple has saved countless people of Chan Kingdom and has boundless merit, protected by the heavens. How dare you, false believers, come here to offend? Now, receive the punishment of the celestial spirits. After the initial round of electric shocks from the lightning array, the monk soldiers at the back, seeing their comrades charred to a crisp, were terrified and dared not take another step forward. Seeing this, Shenlang felt immensely satisfied inside. What a bunch of cowards, daring to attack my Shenlang's territory. Utterly delusional. At that moment, Kuhai, who was commanding from the hilltop, was utterly shocked by what he saw. This is impossible. How could there really be celestial spirits helping Shenlang? It must be this kid playing tricks. The onlookers were also stunned by the recent events, believing in their hearts that it was indeed a manifestation of the celestial spirits protecting the Yu Kingdom's temple. Seeing this, Kuhai became even more enraged. Suddenly, he noticed the iron pillar in the middle of the temple and instantly understood everything. What divine power! It was all this kid's trickery using that iron pillar. The entire episode was merely a ruse created by Shenlang using the iron pillar. Realizing the truth, Kuhai immediately turned around and issued orders for the monk soldiers to launch a second wave of attack. However, the monk soldiers, already frightened out of their wits, seeing the bodies of their comrades, kept retreating, fearing that they would be the next to be punished by the celestial spirits. Kuhai was furious, yelling, "You cowards! Shenlang is trying to steal our people's faith. Without these followers, what will you eat or drink in the future? What luxury can you hope for? Charge in, kill all these Yu Kingdom people, and take back our followers." Under his instigation, the monk soldiers' morale was bolstered again. The high priest is right. For our future glory and riches, we must eradicate these Yu Kingdom people and flatten this temple. The monk soldiers gritted their teeth and charged towards the temple. Shenlang had already prepared a second plan with Shen 13. As the monk soldiers approached the temple, Shen 13 immediately pulled on the hemp rope, accompanied by a series of explosions. The first monk soldiers to charge and were blown to bits. People of this era had never seen explosives. This completely astounded Kuhai, and this unexpected thunder from the ground further convinced the monk soldiers that the temple was indeed protected by celestial spirits, punishing them. At that moment, their newly accumulated morale instantly collapsed. Seeing this, Shenlang seized the moment and, picking up a loudspeaker, bellowed, "The Yu Kingdom temple has the protection of celestial spirits. If you dare disrespect this place again, you will be annihilated. After death, you will sink into the 18 levels of hell and never be reincarnated." As his words ended, as if to agree with Shenlang, a tremendous thunderous roar shook the ground, and a massive lightning bolt struck directly above the temple. The strong currents once again spread through the countless iron and copper wires to the surrounding ground. The flashing lights were like divine miracles, and all the onlooking Chan Kingdom people were completely subdued by the faith of the Yu Kingdom temple. At this time, Shenlang continued to shout, "People of Chan Kingdom, if you wish to receive the protection of the celestial spirits, stand up and protect the temple." Before his words were finished, Arunana walked out and said sharply, "I am Arunana, daughter of the Chan King. These bald thieves have forsaken the will of the celestial spirits. When the smallpox epidemic came, they only hid in their temple temple, letting the people of Chang Kingdom wait outside to die. The Yu Kingdom Temple has saved the lives of the people of Chang Kingdom, and yet they attack this temple, now receiving divine punishment. From today onwards, Snow Mountain Temple is no longer our faith, replaced instead by this new temple. After saying that, she brandished the green dragon crescent blade and charged out fiercely. Shenlang was startled by her action. Big fool's wife, you're wielding such a big blade, and lightning could strike down from the sky at any moment. Even if you're wearing insulating boots, it's still dangerous. However, at this time, following Princess Aranana's lead, countless Chang Kingdom citizens also picked up sickles and charged towards the monk soldiers' ranks. The Chang citizens, although not as combat ready as these trained monk soldiers, took advantage of the monks' extremely low morale to overwhelmingly pummel them. Meanwhile, Kuhai, hiding on the side, was already seething with rage. Shenlang, you wait. Once I personally enter the fray and break your setup, let's see how you summon lightning then. I want to skin you alive to quench the hatred in my heart. He leapt up abruptly and charged towards the top of the temple, swinging his crescent shovel and fiercely chopped at the lightning rod. The moment the iron column was cut, Kuhai let out a mocking laugh. Shenlang, your lightning array is destroyed. Let's see what you'll use to fight me now. After completing this, he tore open a large hole in the roof and jumped directly into the temple, landing with a terrifying killing intent emanating from him. Shenlang, you little beast, today I will chop you up, cook you into a meat soup, and offer it to my fallen monk soldiers. However, Shenlang seemed to have already anticipated Kuhai's arrival and, seeing him, flashed a radiant smile and enthusiastically waved his hand. High Priest Kuhai, don't be so negative. My little body really can't withstand you. Your opponent is someone else. At these words, Kuhai instantly felt a chilling sensation all over, and a familiar yet icy presence crept up behind him. This is Shuiyan's aura. Kuhai, sensing this danger, instantly changed expression. Kuhai swiftly dodged to the side, exclaiming, how is this possible? Isn't that woman Shuiyan supposed to be dead? How could anyone cure the floating mountain poison? But now, putting on a brave face, he still arrogantly shouted, Shuiyan, so what if you are a grandmaster? You've been poisoned for so long and just woke up. What combat ability could you possibly have? You might as well surrender. Saying this, he raised his crescent shovel and swung it towards Shuiyan. However, unbeknownst to him, Shuiyan had already drawn a sharp sword, its blade emitting a terrifying cold light. With a crisp ding sound, the moment Kuhai charged, Shuiyan, carrying a surge of sword energy, instantly penetrated his body. The whole temple fell silent in an instant. A few seconds later, Kuhai, feeling no abnormality in his body, couldn't help but laugh smugly. I thought Shuiyan was so formidable. Turns out, she's not much. At this moment, he revealed a lewd smile, continuing, could it be that your physical strength was drained by that pretty boy Shenlang? Grandmaster Shuiyan, I advise you to take it easy and know your limits. However, faced with Kuhai's vulgar words, Shuiyan didn't get angry at all, treating it as if there was just a dog barking behind her. At that time, Kuhai's expression darkened as he thought to himself, why do I suddenly feel cold all over? Dizzy. He looked down only to discover a hole the size of a finger through his chest. Each grandmaster has their own unique way of killing, and only now did he realize he was beyond help. If Sword King Li Qianxiu's method was brutally dismembering his victims, the beauty-loving Shuiyan was much gentler, using sword energy to sever all the heart's blood vessels of her enemies. She made sure that even in killing, the dead were left clean. At this moment, Shenlang, holding a rainstorm of hidden blades, sauntered over cheekily, smiling. High Priest Kuhai, your threat level is quite high. To avoid future problems, I might as well give you another stab on behalf of my aunt. Subsequently, a dense shower of fine needles, like a torrential downpour, shot into Kuhai's body, turning him into a porcupine. Kuhai cursed inwardly, Shenlang, you little wretch, this is utterly unscrupulous. I'm already dying, and you still shoot at me. However, he could no longer voice any complaints, and he died with resentment. Shenlang then turned to command Huang Feng, go chop off this old thief's head for me. Moments later, Shenlang, holding Kuhai's head seriously, walked out of the temple and raised the head, shouting loudly, the false believer of the celestial spirits, Kuhai, has defied the heavenly mandate and has been justly executed. Will you monk soldiers not put down your weapons and accept the judgment of the celestial spirits? Upon hearing this, everyone involved in the fight stopped. The monk soldiers, terrified, looked at the head of their leader in Shenlang's hand, and after a moment, realizing what had happened, they dropped their weapons and scattered like frightened animals. With this, the battle in Chang Kingdom came to a decisive end, and Shenlang emerged victorious once again. As Shenlang took Kuhai's head and declared victory, the news also reached the royal palace of Chang Kingdom that very night. Crown Prince Arutai, hearing the outcome, was furious and angry, incessantly cursing Kuhai's incompetence, and volunteered to personally lead troops to annihilate Shenlang and his Yu Kingdom people. Queen Sumo also echoed, if we don't eliminate Shenlang, he will be a future threat. However, Chang King, hearing both of their comments, remained silent. He was angry, but not to the extreme. Was he now supposed to kill Shenlang along with the thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, of Chang citizens? Moreover, Kuhai's death also meant the complete downfall of Snow Mountain Temple, which might not be a bad thing. Sumo did not understand Chang King's thoughts. She was solely focused on helping the Su family family eliminate Shenlang quickly. Seeing Chan King's delay in making a decision, she simply knelt down and said, "If we don't kill Shenlang, once he returns to Yu Kingdom, your letter of apology will spread throughout the world. By then, your reputation and dignity will be utterly destroyed." Hearing this, Chan King came back to his senses and spoke slowly. "Since he wants to leave, let him go. Arutai, you take some men and deal with him on the road." The next day, the Chan citizens, who had witnessed Shenlang trigger the miracle the previous night, already regarded him as a messenger of the celestial spirits. Now, as Shenlang was about to lead his group back to Yu Kingdom, people came out spontaneously to see him off. Watching these simple Chan citizens, Shenlang was filled with deep emotions. Now, the temple had taken root in the hearts of the Chan people and had become their sole faith. He had exceeded his mission objectives. However, the smooth success of this mission to Chan Kingdom was mostly thanks to the late Swaboyu. Without his prior arrangements, there would have been no success. Thinking about it, he was indeed a good person. At that time, Arutai, following them at a distance, watched this scene, full of annoyance, blaming his own carelessness. He should have gone to assassinate the pretty boy last night. Now, with so many armed Chan citizens escorting them, there was no way to start. This meaningless assassination attempt could only be declared a failure. A few days later, escorted by Shuayin and Arunana, Shenlang safely reached the border of Yu Kingdom. Just as he was preparing to say goodbye, he realized Arunana had no plans to return to Chan Kingdom. This spirited young woman had been completely hurt by her family, and since she had acknowledged Big Fool, she decided to follow him wherever he went for the rest of her life. However, Shenlang directly rejected her request. "Princess Nana, you cannot come with us. You need to stay here." Arunana was stunned. "Why? I am Big Fool's wife." Shenlang pointed to the crowd behind him and explained, "Princess Nana, although I have given these thousands of slaves their freedom, I cannot take them back to Yu Kingdom. We would have to pass through Su family territory and Three-Eyed Evil's domain on the way, and our mere 100 or so guards could not protect them, so you need to stay in Chan Kingdom to ensure their safety." Arunana, hearing this, grew even more furious. "Why should I stay behind? What do their lives or deaths have to do with me?" Shenlang, seeing her so agitated, patiently explained, "Now that I've handed over the technique for vaccinating against smallpox to your father, given his greed, he will definitely exploit every last coin from these Chan citizens with the vaccine. But this is also a rare opportunity for you. You can establish a tribe at the foot of the Snow Mountain, offer vaccinations for free under the name of the temple. In this way, countless people will come to you." After hearing Shenlang's explanation, Arunana cried. She didn't want to build a tribe, she just wanted to return to a peaceful life with Big Fool. Seeing this, Shuayin stepped forward to comfort her. "Nana, this is your responsibility, understand? You must take up this burden." Hearing her master say the same, Arunana cried even harder, even hugging Shuayin and sobbing loudly as if trying to vent all her dissatisfaction. At that moment, Big Fool came over, his simple-mindedness only allowing him to see that his wife was crying, and he was anxious but didn't know how to comfort her. After hesitating for a long time, he could only say, "Wife, stop crying. Second Fool isn't wrong. You should listen to him." Hearing Big Fool's voice, Arunana wiped her tears, stood up, and seemed to make a decision. She said to Big Fool, "Big Fool, come with me for a moment." Big Fool, a bit confused, obediently followed her. Watching the two of them head into a small grove, Shenlang was left puzzled, thinking to himself, heading into the woods, "What's going on? Princess Nana, that's a bit too thrilling. Even Mulan and I haven't tried that." The two stood in a clearing deep in the forest, facing each other in silence. After a moment, Arunana blushed and broke the awkward silence. "Big Fool, do you want to sleep with me?" Big Fool replied without hesitation, "Is just holding each other to sleep okay?" Arunana, speechless, simply began to undress herself. "It's okay if you don't know. I've seen it many times. I'll teach you." Soon, deep, rough sounds like bear roars echoed above the forest. This noise also reached the ears of Shenlang and others, making him think, "This woman is really wild. You can hear such loud noises even hundreds of meters away." An hour later, others awkwardly moved away to rest. At this time, Shenlang's face was contorted with embarrassment and jealousy. "Anything over half an hour is fake. I don't believe it." Finally, half an hour later, Big Fool and Arunana emerged. Seeing Big Fool's satisfied expression, Shenlang completely lost his composure. He absolutely refused to believe that Big Fool's capabilities were greater than his own. However, Arunana completely ignored Shenlang's envious and resentful gaze, turned around, and warned Big Fool, "If you dare touch another woman when we get back, I will come and take your life." She then bit hard on Big Fool's arm as a warning. After venting her emotions, she turned and led thousands of slaves back to Chan Kingdom without looking back. Meanwhile, in Yu Kingdom, the sovereign was anxiously awaiting news from Shenlang. Although Shenlang was a rare talent in the brutal lands of Chan Kingdom, it was difficult for the entire mission to return unscathed. Worse still, the southern Ouyang country's Sand Barbarian tribe had amassed an army of over 150,000. Once war broke out, Yu Kingdom would struggle to withstand the assault from both nations. Just as the sovereign felt helpless, two little eunuchs rushed in. "Your Majesty, great news! Shenlang has completed his mission and is on his way back to Yu Kingdom. He not only made Chan King write a letter of confession but also truly built a temple that attracted countless Chan citizens as followers." Shenlang Lang has not only displayed our national power but also spread your majesty's prestige far and wide. Hearing the eunuch's report, the sovereign was so shocked he could hardly close his mouth, amazed that Lang truly had such capabilities. Now, with the tense situation in southern Ouyang and political reputation on shaky ground, Lang's victory was like timely rain. Overwhelmed with excitement, the sovereign immediately ordered, "Quick, Lang has rendered great service in his mission to Chan Kingdom. Prepare a ceremony to welcome him. I must reward him well," the sovereign said excitedly. After experiencing a thrilling battle in Chan Kingdom, Lang and others finally returned to Yu Kingdom. Of course, he had been busy on the road as well. At that moment, Lang, using his X-ray vision to examine the test tube containing a mix of Big Fool's golden bloodline and the cursed bug, pondered seriously. For 5 days, the cursed bug in the bottle not only hadn't died, but had become more active due to absorbing some powerful force, even gradually changing color from its previous dark brown to golden. Moreover, the mother bug's body had also turned from green to gold. The only difference was that while other cursed bugs were active, the mother bug seemed to have entered a dormant phase, quietly floating without moving. Suddenly, Lang seemed to think of something, poked his head out the window, and asked Shuayin, "Do you know how Big Fool got his golden bloodline?" "I remember Qiu Yaoer also had a golden bloodline." Shuayin shook her head. "It's probably innate. Even the greatest martial arts masters in the world can't unravel its mystery." Hearing the phrase innate, Lang suddenly became excited and pointed at himself, urgently asking, "Auntie, Zhongchuk once looked at my bloodline and said he couldn't see through it. Is it because his power is insufficient? Why don't you take a look? Maybe I'm also a person with hidden talents." Shuayin, after listening, didn't say a word. Shuayin just stared at Lang intently for a while, then frowned slightly before suddenly revealing a gentle smile and said, "The wise worry themselves. You are the most formidable one." Upon hearing this, Lang suddenly felt weak all over, slumped down, and bitterly thought to himself, "I get it. This is just telling me that martial arts aren't for me, right? Seems I'm just meant to be a kept man after all." Just as he was feeling dejected, a thought flashed through his mind. No worries, no worries. Even though I lack martial prowess, I have a super brain." Immediately, Lang mysteriously waved to Shuayin outside the window. "Auntie, come in for a moment. I have a bold idea I want to discuss with you." Shuayin, although a bit puzzled, still leapt into the carriage and entered the cabin. Seeing Shuayin entering the cabin, Huang Feng, leading the way in front, was shocked. Lang is getting bolder and bolder. He previously had a tryst with Mulan in a carriage. Is he now planning to make a move on Goddess Shuayin in public? Inside the carriage, Lang seriously asked, "Auntie, after you were poisoned by the floating mountain cursed poison, did you notice any changes when you used your martial arts?" Shuayin paused for a moment, then replied, "Indeed, there were changes. My true energy and sword energy could paralyze my opponents during combat, and during the time I was poisoned, it even preserved my youth for 20 years. My appearance hasn't changed at all." Hearing this, Lang became more convinced of his idea. The toxins secreted by the cursed bug in your body not only enhanced your abilities but also paralyzed your nerves, achieving what every woman dreams of: agelessness. Pausing, he then took out the test tube and continued, "Auntie, look, this is the blood with the cursed bug that I extracted from you. It should be red, but it gradually turned golden after coming into contact with Big Fool's golden blood, although it's only a pale gold. But does this mean that if I can remove the neurotoxin of the cursed bug, I could use it to change someone's bloodline talents?" Lang grew more and more excited as he spoke, already imagining being surrounded by transformed powerful warriors. Combined with his own high IQ, wouldn't he be invincible? The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, completely unaware of the sleazy smile creeping across his face. Just then, Shuayin suddenly sensed a strong killing intent approaching them. Her expression darkened, and she warned, Lang, danger is approaching. At least 5,000 cavalry are charging towards us." Lang was startled, quickly stepped out of the carriage, and indeed saw a large group of strong horses rapidly approaching them. The cavalry were gradually closing in, and soon, countless riders emerged from all directions, surrounding them. But when Lang clearly saw the people on the horses, he was puzzled. These men don't look like regular cavalry or bandits. It's incredible. Does the entire Western Celestial Province's governor's office even have this many riders? Lang muttered to himself. At that moment, he noticed a stern gaze from atop a cliff watching him. Looking up, he saw a man in armor, wearing a steel helmet, looking down from above, and the eyes embedded in the helmet confirmed his identity: the notorious bandit, Three-Eyed Evil. Recognizing the man, Lang scoffed internally. Isn't this just one of Su Nan's dogs? It seems these men are Su Old Dog's private army. With this thought, Lang relaxed considerably, even enthusiastically waving at Three-Eyed Evil. Seeing no response from Three-Eyed Evil, Lang didn't care, simply signaling to Shen 13 not to stop the carriage and to keep moving. He thought, the Emperor is waiting for me to return to Yu Kingdom with good news. I don't believe these lapdogs dare make a move here. Just then, Three-Eyed Evil on the cliff suddenly raised his hand pointing at Lang, then made a throat-slitting gesture. Seeing this, Lang sneered and responded with an internationally recognized gesture of friendship combined with a pelvic thrust, saying, "What goes around comes around." He even made the same provocative gesture towards the thousands of bandits. That evening, Shenlang and his group safely passed through the border and stayed at the government station in 10,000 Mountains County. Although this was the Su family's territory, Shenlang was utterly fearless. After a day in the carriage, he collapsed onto a bed as soon as he saw it. Just then, the voice of Shen 13 calling from outside reached him. "Master, a woman claiming to be Miss Mulan's elder martial sister is here to see you." Shenlang was puzzled, thinking, Mulan's elder martial sister? Isn't that Crown Prince's kept woman on the side, Zhao Yan? Moreover, she is also from the Hidden Origin Society. This woman obviously has ill intentions. However, given that Zhao Yan was a person from the Crown Prince, Shenlang had to suppress his displeasure, went to the living room, and greeted her with a forced smile. Zhao Yan, unconcerned with Shenlang's attitude, smiled artificially. "Young Master Shen, your recent mission to Chan Kingdom has greatly enhanced our nation's prestige. Once you return home, you will surely be heavily relied upon by the sovereign. I wonder, do you have any thoughts on this?" After listening, Shenlang's lips curved slightly, and he said indifferently, "If sister has something to say, just speak up. Was it the Crown Prince who sent you?" Shenlang asked directly. Zhao Yan did not expect Shenlang to be so straightforward, but still said, "Indeed, the Crown Prince greatly admires you. It is said that the mirrors now being sold by the Heavenly Path Society were made by you. Not only did you help them turn their fortunes around, but you also nearly restored the lost Eastern trade routes. If young Master Shen is willing to share the secret formula for the glass mirrors, our Hidden Origin Society is willing to pay 3 million gold coins as a reward, payable over 3 years. What do you think?" Shenlang became even more displeased internally, thinking, the Crown Prince sends a mistress to recruit me and wants me to hand over the secret formula. How wishful thinking. However, he knew Zhao Yan didn't come just for this matter. After thinking it over, he replied, "Being so highly regarded by His Highness the Crown Prince truly flatters me. Please convey to His Highness that I will certainly give it thoughtful consideration." The next day, Shenlang left 10,000 Mountains County and just settled in the government station at Huangliang County when he was approached by an aide of the third prince. His purpose and rhetoric were almost exactly the same as Zhao Yan's. Shenlang was even more depressed by then, thinking, the Crown Prince and the third prince send people one after another to recruit me without making any clear promises, and they want me to hand over the formula for the glass mirrors. What exactly are they trying to do with such a strange approach? On the 7th day after leaving Chan Kingdom, Shenlang and his group arrived at Lang County, only about 300 miles from capital city. Soon after settling in Lang County's government station, Shen 13 came to report. Yiwu requests an audience. Hearing this name, Shenlang was initially startled, then remembered this woman was the courtesan whom the sovereign had obsessed over. He had once schemed to get her into the imperial bed, using her to kill one of his enemies, Li Wenzheng. But wasn't she later discovered by the sovereign to not be a virgin and confined in her hometown in Lang County? Realizing he was exactly in Lang County, Shenlang recognized that as a great hero, many would want to associate with him, and it wasn't strange for Yiwu to find this place. However, since she was the sovereign's woman, considering the sovereign's temper, it was best for him to keep his distance. Thus, Shenlang waved his hand, signaling Shen 13, just send her away. However, Shen 13 hesitantly said, Yiwu has already come in. At this, Shenlang was greatly shocked. How could Shen 13, with his martial abilities, not stop a single weak woman? If this woman had forced her way in, there must be a scheme. Sensing the danger, Shenlang quickly rushed out of the bedroom, thinking, if someone with ulterior motives used this incident to make trouble with the sovereign, the consequences would be unimaginable. Unexpectedly, the situation developed far more complicatedly than Shenlang anticipated. He actually burst into the neighboring room, Shui Yin's, and before she could react, he jumped onto her bed and crawled under her quilt. This fluid sequence of actions completely baffled Shui Yin. At that moment, Shenlang hurriedly explained, Auntie, I came here to hide. Please cover for me. As soon as he finished speaking, the delicate voice of Yiwu asking for an audience came from outside the door. Hearing this, Shenlang hugged Shui Yin and called out loudly, I have already taken a beauty to bed with me. Yiwu, please come back tomorrow. However, Yiwu did not leave. Instead, she continued from outside the door. I have long admired Shen Young Master's poetic talents, and having learned that the young master has come to my hometown today, I specially came to request a poem. To quickly get rid of her, Shenlang carelessly composed a soy sauce poem. However, what he didn't know was that not only Yiwu was outside the door, but Jean Mulan had also arrived. This was why Shen 13 had not dared to stop her. At that moment, upon hearing the poem, Mulan's face turned utterly dark. She said coldly, Indeed, my husband's poetry is exceptionally good. Mulan's voice startled Shenlang. His heart immediately filled with both roars and panic. How did my wife get here? Does this count as being caught cheating? Quickly, before anyone could react, Shenlang flung off the covers, jumped out of bed, and dashed over to Mulan in 3 steps, trying to soothe her fury. This action completely stunned Mulan. Husband, what are you doing? However, Shenlang did not stop, and instead carried her back to his own bedroom. He knew that all explanations would be futile at that moment, and that only by proving his physical fitness could he demonstrate his innocence. After more than half an hour of brief communication, Shenlang was convinced, and so was Mulan, albeit grudgingly. At that moment, feeling a bit guilty, Shenlang hugged Mulan and asked, "Baby, do you now believe in my innocence? I have always been preserving myself just for you." As soon as he mentioned it, Mulan glared at him again. "Scumbag, if you hadn't done anything, why would you have run out of Shuiyan's room?" Seeing Mulan's sharp gaze, Shenlang became even more panicked and quickly explained, "I was hiding from Yiwu. That's why I dove into Shuiyan's quilt. She's a grandmaster. How could she let me take advantage of her?" Just then, Yiwu's voice came from outside again. "Young Master Shen, have you finished?" That woman was still here, but thankfully, her interruption gave Shenlang a chance to escape. Reluctantly, he dressed and went out to meet Yiwu. Now that Mulan was there, Shenlang didn't have to worry about anything else. In the hall, Yiwu handed him a paper. "Young Master Shen, are you familiar with this poem?" Shenlang stepped forward to read the content and was momentarily stunned. After reading the content on the paper, Shenlang quickly realized, wasn't this the poem he had someone sell to Yiwu to kill Li Wenjing back then? But he certainly couldn't let her know that, so Shenlang smiled and said, "I remember this poem. It was sung by Yiwu at the Empress Dowager's birthday banquet. The depth of its sentiment is indeed a magnificent chapter. I'm certainly familiar with it." Then, without waiting for Yiwu to speak again, Shenlang took a new book from inside the house and handed it over. "Since Yiwu appreciates literature and praises my overflowing talents, I shall gift you my latest work. Please kindly provide your guidance." Hearing Shenlang's explanation, Yiwu momentarily thought she had indeed approached the wrong person, reluctantly accepted the book, exchanged a few more polite words, and left disappointed. After sending off Yiwu, Shenlang returned to his bedroom only to be stunned by the beautiful sight before him. Mulan was half leaning against the bed, a thin blanket covering just her private areas, and the faintly visible beauty of her form made Shenlang's heart race, suddenly feeling agitated. Seeing Shenlang's expression, Mulan playfully smiled, pulled him over, and flipped him under her. Just as they were about to go another round, Ning Yan's voice suddenly came from outside. "Shenlang, I'm here to keep my promise. Since you've returned alive from Chang Kingdom, today I'll let you have what you wished for. I'll just consider it a bite from a dog, and afterwards, we're still brothers." This voice instantly froze the atmosphere in the room, and Shenlang's heart roared. Not this again. Hearing Ning Yan's ferocious words, Shenlang was about to go crazy. How did this brainless woman get here too? Turning his head to see Mulan's dark expression, Shenlang felt a chill run down his spine, internally roaring, "What a disaster. If I can survive today, Ning Yan, I will definitely kill you." An hour later, a haggard Shenlang sat down with Mulan, Ning Yan, and Yunmengzi. Suddenly, Ning Yan said to Mulan out of the blue, "Mulan, rest assured, besides touching my chest twice, this guy didn't really do anything to offend me." Yunmengzi also laughed. "I was also brought here by Ning Yan as a witness. She said she wanted to fulfill a bet with Brother Shen. The capital city wasn't convenient, so she chose here." With these words, Shenlang immediately felt the icy stare of Mulan next to him, his heart despairing. Is it still possible to cut ties with these two troublemakers now? After the commotion, Yunmengzi suddenly became serious and said, "Brother Shen, I came here also to remind you, your triumphant return from Chang Kingdom has boosted you kingdom's prestige and covered up the defeat on the southern battlefield, which is indeed a good thing. But now your foundation is unstable. The higher you climb, the harder you may fall. Now in the capital city, people are boasting about you as a once-in-a-century diplomatic envoy, saying that since you could handle Chang Kingdom, the Sand Barbarian tribe will surely be a piece of cake. They're clearly setting you up for a mission to the Sand Barbarian tribe." Shenlang was startled, feeling uneasy. A mission to the Sand Barbarian tribe? Shenlang felt a strong aversion. I'd be crazy to go to that godforsaken place. Moreover, Shenlang had already planned to execute the third step of his plan to eradicate the Su family upon his return from Chang Kingdom. How could he possibly stir up the Sand Barbarian tribe without any assurance of victory? Yunmengzi continued, "Brother Shen, if you don't want to accept this mission, you need to plan early." The news of Shenlang's great victory in Chang Kingdom had spread throughout Yu Kingdom before they even arrived at the capital city. When they reached the capital city, the whole populace gathered to welcome them. With drums beating and firecrackers bursting, the crowd shouted in unison, "Long live the sovereign! Long live Yu Kingdom!" The scene was grand, as if Shenlang had indeed conquered Chang Kingdom. Although he relished being the center of attention in front of the sovereign, he still remained reserved. Shenlang, holding the confession letter from the Chang King and a scroll depicting the temple and its many beneficiaries, approached the imperial hall and respectfully presented them. "Your Majesty, I have fulfilled my mission in Chang Kingdom without dishonor, and I am here to report back." He then ordered the scroll depicting nearly 10,000 Chang citizens, showing their gratitude and loyalty, each marked with a blood handprint, to be unrolled. To make the drama complete, Shenlang suddenly raised his arms and shouted, "Our Yu Kingdom's sovereign blesses the people. The citizens of Chang Kingdom aspire to our Eastern civilization. Hearts are with Yu Kingdom, devoted to your Majesty. Long live Yu Kingdom! Long live the sovereign!" Shenlang shouted. As the crowd behind him echoed in support, the atmosphere was continuously stirring, but the sovereign standing in front of the hall was speechless. "Shenlang, this was merely a minor diplomatic victory, but you've portrayed it as if it was a grand conquest. I was initially worried you would botch it. Now I'm concerned you've overplayed it." Reluctantly, the sovereign cleared his throat and said, "This grand victory victory owes much to your arduous efforts. Minister Shen, you have traveled far and worked hard. Go rest now, for I still have great plans for you. However, Shenlang remained motionless, thinking to himself, are you kidding me? I took such a huge risk to come back, and now you want to send me away with just a few words? So, he respectfully replied, thank you for your concern, your majesty. Indeed, I am tired, but what I miss most is my family, especially my in-laws. After hearing this, the sovereign didn't say much more, but his expression darkened. Nice try, Shenlang, clearly reminding me to confer titles on your in-laws and reward your Jin family. Even the eunuch, standing by, couldn't help but sweat for Shenlang inwardly. An hour later, after his audience with the sovereign, Shenlang didn't go home, but went straight to the residence of Prince Ningjing. There, in the study, Ningjing and Shenlang were sorting out their next moves. Ningjing said, rest assured, Brother Shen, our father as the emperor never reneges on his promises. The conferment of the title Marquis of Mythical Turtle to the Jin family and giving them charge over Furious Tide City will proceed without changes. Our current concern should be the upcoming political situation. Some in the capital are using your successful mission to Chan Kingdom to overly elevate your status, with the aim of having the emperor order you to negotiate with the Sand Barbarian tribe to stop their support for the southern countries. Shenlang interrupted him immediately. I absolutely cannot go to the Sand Barbarian tribe. Next, I need to bring down the Su family in the shortest time possible. How could I possibly have time to court death in the Sand Barbarian tribe? Ningjing was shocked. Su Nan holds the titles of Marquis of Distant Guard, Junior Protector to the Crown Prince, and General of the Army Garrison, not to mention he's a leading figure among the neutrals. You, Shenlang, are but a minor 7th rank official with no significant backers or allies. How can you expect to overthrow him quickly? Isn't that a fool's dream? Seeing his disbelief, Shenlang slightly raised an eyebrow and continued, the setup in Chan Kingdom is already complete. Next, we need to act quickly to strip Su Nan of all his official positions and force him into retirement. Then, it will be our turn to champion the new policy. When Distant Guard City and the White Knight County start implementing the new policies, it will be the perfect time to destroy the Su family. Ningjing's jaw dropped even wider. He had not anticipated Shenlang's plans to be so ambitious and intricate. Ningjing realized in shock that he would also need to be part of Shenlang's scheme. Moreover, the political purges of the new policy had been targeting the Marquis of Mythical Turtle's mansion, and now Shenlang was planning to take up the banner of the new policy, which was bewildering. With questions, Ningjing asked, many old nobility families are currently uniting to propose your Jin family as the leader of a new alliance. Your sudden decision to take up the banner of the new policy, could it possibly? Before Ningjing could finish, Shenlang's expression turned cold. When the new policy wanted to purge my Jin family, which of those people stood up to help? My mother-in-law personally visited 10 noble families and only managed to borrow a mere 1,000 gold coins. Those who only add insult to injury brought nothing but disgrace to the Jin family. Shenlang said coldly, as long as the Jin family can thrive, I am willing to betray. When I, Shenlang, take up the sword of the new policy, I assure you, I will be even more ruthless than Zhang Chong. After finishing, Shenlang stood up and said, Your Highness, although Su Nan is your uncle, he is also a potential threat to the sovereign, and I hope you won't be lenient towards him. Hearing Shenlang's words, Ningjing finally grasped the full extent of Shenlang's plan and fell back into his chair, not out of soft-heartedness towards Su Nan, but overwhelmed by Shenlang's audacious plan. Meanwhile, in the Crown Prince's secret chamber, Zhu Rong, the Grand Commander, was discussing with the Crown Prince. Your Highness, since you intend to recruit Shenlang, why offer such harsh conditions? The Crown Prince smiled, playing with a jade carving in his hand, not answering, as if he had calculations already in mind. Zhao Yan explained, Su Nan has deep roots and overwhelming influence in the court. Only with his support can the third prince be overwhelmed. The Crown Prince's actions were merely to provoke that old fox, not truly to recruit Shenlang under his command. Zhu Rong suddenly realized Shenlang has been very vocal about taking down the Su family, but after all, he is a lone, low-ranking official without any backing. It's delusional to think he could take down Su Nan, but if Shenlang were to align with the Crown Prince, the situation would be different. This is the Crown Prince's way of forcing Su Nan to come to him. Zhao Yan continued, Shenlang is just a son-in-law, a minor official. No matter how clever he is, how much trouble can he stir up in the capital city? Now that the Crown Prince doesn't need him, and the third prince doesn't want him because of the Shui family's reasons, just like a lost soul, daring to show off in the capital city, he won't live long. Although Zhu Rong felt somewhat regretful upon hearing this, he didn't care too much. He was more concerned about his capable subordinate, Zhang Chong. Your Highness, Zhang Chong has been locked up in the Court of Judicial Review for over half a year now, and His Majesty's anger should have subsided. Your Highness, why not help Zhang Chong? This man has exceptional abilities and can certainly become a powerful general for you in the future. The Crown Prince shook his head, and Zhao Yan immediately understood, taking over the conversation. Although Zhang Chong is capable, the timing to bring him out is not right yet. It might cause disturbances in the court. What the Crown Prince needs now is careful planning. Now is not the time. Zhao Yan continued, Shenlang has returned from Chan Kingdom with a great victory, and His Majesty is about to fulfill his promise to confer the title title of Marquis on Jinhua and grant Furious Tide City to the Jin family. It's a time of displeasure for His Majesty. If the Crown Prince were to plead for Zhang Chong now, wouldn't it displease His Majesty even more? After hearing this, Zhu Rong had nothing to say but silently lamented, Zhang Chong, you'll just have to endure a bit longer. The next day, as Shenlang was to be recognized for his merits and discuss the rewards for the Jin family, he, a minor 7th rank official, unprecedentedly received the qualification to attend the court meeting. Before leaving, Ning Zheng, looking worried, cautioned Shenlang, Brother Shen, the Su family's staff will surely challenge you at today's court meeting. They won't only try to prevent the Jin family from being ennobled, but they will likely also jointly demand that you be sent to the Sand Barbarian tribe to your doom. You must be very careful. After hearing this, an excited smile couldn't help but show on Shenlang's face. Your Highness, just wait for the good news of my triumph at the court today. This is going to stir things up. That incorrigible Zhu Wenhua is planning to trouble Shenlang at the court again. This was Shenlang's first time entering the court as an official. The sovereign sat on the throne and slowly began. Today's court meeting has 2 agendas. First, Jinhua has exterminated pirates and captured Furious Tide City, expanding our territory and by rights should be ennobled. Second, the Sand Barbarian tribe's reinforcements continue, causing a deadlock in the war with the southern Ouyang country. Should we now send an envoy to the Sand Barbarian tribe to persuade them to stop supporting the south? Let's discuss this together. As soon as the sovereign finished speaking, the imperial censor Wang Qing stood up. Your Majesty, I have a memorandum to present. Speak. The imperial censorate accuses Shenlang of plotting rebellion and attempting to overthrow the Great Flame Dynasty. Please investigate this thoroughly, Your Majesty. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire court was in an uproar. This is setting up a royal flush move right at the start. Even the sovereign frowned. Overthrow the Great Flame Dynasty? These crafty old foxes sure know how to pin a big hat on Shenlang. It is known that although Great Flame is the overlord, the various vassal states still govern themselves, and subjects are loyal only to the sovereign, rarely involving matters of the Great Flame Emperor's nation. However, once the hat of overthrowing Great Flame is pinned, the political priority of the situation is immediately elevated. At that moment, Wang Qing continued, this memorandum was presented by the newly appointed censor Zhu Wenhua, who earnestly requests that Your Majesty summon him to the palace. Moments later, Zhu Wenhua entered the Great Hall with an air of confidence. When Shenlang saw him, a smirk appeared on his lips. The enemy seems to have chosen a paid teammate this time. Yet, Shenlang also secretly admired Zhu Wenhua's tenacity. The death of his father and the persecution of his family were all orchestrated by him, and yet he still dared to provoke me. As Zhu Wenhua walked past Shenlang, he glared fiercely at him, thinking triumphantly, did you ever imagine that you would fall into my hands one day? Today, I will make sure you die without a burial place right here in this grand hall. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became, and he quickly walked up to the front of the hall, respectfully saying, Your Majesty, the reason Shenlang's mission to Chan Kingdom went so smoothly is all because of a woman. This woman is Jiangli, the sworn sister of the Great Dry Emperor, posing as Princess Shuayin. This fugitive, ranked 5th on the wanted list, has been colluding with Shenlang and was even brought by Shenlang to the capital city of Yu Kingdom. Shenlang's actions are clearly intended to provoke the wrath of the Yan Emperor against our Yu Kingdom, evidently aiming to overthrow the Great Flame Dynasty. I implore Your Majesty to have Shenlang executed by dismemberment and to immediately capture the fugitive Shuayin. After listening, the sovereign frowned deeply and then looked at Shenlang, asking, Shenlang, do you really have a private collusion with Shuayin, a wanted criminal of the Great Flame Empire? Upon hearing this, Shenlang immediately became dramatically indignant, kneeling down and crying out in protest, Your Majesty, I am innocent of these accusations, I swear it. Zhu Wenhua quickly stepped forward, continuing to speak, Your Majesty, I have a witness. Please allow the witness to come forward and testify. Moments later, the witness was brought into the hall, who was one of the guards from Shenlang's mission to Chan Kingdom. Zhu Wenhua pulled out Shuayin's wanted poster, handed it to the man, and asked, during the trip to Chan Kingdom, was this woman always with Shenlang? All eyes in the hall turned to the guard, and the atmosphere instantly tensed. The guard quickly confessed truthfully, yes, it's her. This woman is so beautiful that anyone who sees her once would never forget. Zhu Wenhua pressed further, what is the nature of her relationship with Shenlang? After thinking for a moment, the guard replied, Sir Shen and this woman are very close. They were openly affectionate and even spent several nights together. Upon hearing this, the officials in the hall cast envious and jealous glances at Shenlang. Even if Shuayin was a fugitive, she was still a goddess desired by men all around. Zhu Wenhua did not miss any opportunity to continue grilling the guard. Where is Shuayin now? Looking at Zhu Wenhua's stern eyes, the guard timidly responded, she should be staying at the Jin family's private residence. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhu Wenhua turned and pointed directly at Shenlang, declaring loudly, Shenlang, by harboring Shuayin, a wanted criminal of the Great Flame Empire, and planning to collude with her to overthrow the Great Flame Dynasty, you should be executed along with your entire family. What do you have to say now? Shenlang, hearing this, did not bother to explain but merely acted innocent and shouted his grievances. Seeing this, Zhu Wenhua knelt down and pleaded fervently, I earnestly request Your majesty to execute the traitor Shenlang and his entire family, capture Shuayin, strip her of her martial arts, and hand her over to the Great Flame Empire. After speaking, he bowed deeply, his face on the ground, showing a sinister smile, as if he held the winning hand. I, Zhu Wenhua, am finally going to avenge my family today, Zhu Wenhua thought to himself, determined to use Shenlang's flesh to appease his father's spirit in heaven. At this moment, the sovereign also felt a headache coming on. He clearly understood this was a trap set for Shenlang. If it were anything else, it might have been overlooked, but these people daring to involve the Great Flame Empire in their schemes was extremely problematic because once it tied back to political standings, it became very thorny. As the sovereign felt troubled, Shenlang suddenly leapt up, swung his fist, and shouted, "You bastard! How dare you set me up? I'll kill you, you son of a turtle!" As his words fell, his fist slammed violently into Zhu Wenhua's nose, followed by a flurry of punches raining down on Zhu Wenhua's face, causing blood to splatter everywhere. Yes, Shenlang was targeting his face, and chaos erupted in an instant. While hitting, Shenlang cursed, as if consumed by anger. In contrast, Zhu Wenhua, despite being skilled in martial arts and fully capable of blocking Shenlang's attacks, deliberately chose not to fight back, allowing Shenlang to beat him mercilessly. Openly fighting in the court made Shenlang lose his decorum and appear as a thug. Zhu Wenhua coldly laughed to himself. "Shenlang, this time you are definitely doomed." All the officials present were stunned by the scene. Although they didn't rush to stop it, they began to criticize Shenlang for daring to fight openly before the sovereign. "Shenlang, have you gone mad? Why would you seek your own death like this?" the officials chastised, and even the sovereign was left dumbfounded by Shenlang's actions. After a moment, he finally erupted in thunderous anger. "Bold Shenlang, how dare you openly assault a colleague in the court? Such brazen behavior warrants severe punishment." With those words, two guards immediately stepped forward to subdue Shenlang. Moments later, the punishment began, personally administered by Aniclimax. As the rod struck down again and again, Shenlang's screams echoed throughout the grand hall. After 10 strikes, Shenlang fainted. Seeing Shenlang being punished and covered in blood, Zhu Wenhua felt a rush of satisfaction. "Shenlang, this is just the beginning. What follows will be your complete annihilation, and even the Jin family will pay for your sins." Noticing Shenlang unconscious, Aniclimax returned to the hall to report to the sovereign. The sovereign, still furious, ordered Li Ji immediately take people to the Jin family's private residence and bring the wanted criminal Shuayin back here. If anyone resists, kill them without mercy. In less than half an hour, Li Ji and the guards from the Blackwater platform arrived at the Jin family's private residence. The moment he saw Shuayin, even as a man of no particular background, Li Ji was stunned by her beauty. Realizing he was losing his composure, he quickly adjusted himself, confirmed Shuayin's identity, and bowed, saying, "Your Majesty requests your presence. Please come with me to the palace." Soon after, in the grand hall, the attention of all the officials was suddenly drawn to a fragrance wafting in from outside. As they looked outside, Shuayin's heavenly beauty slowly came into view. She stepped into the hall, and the officials couldn't take their eyes off her face, secretly resenting how unfair it is that such an extraordinary beauty is involved with that gigolo Shenlang. Even Zhu Wenhua, beaten to a pulp, was momentarily stunned by Shuayin's beauty, his gaze at Shenlang filled with jealousy and hatred. But in the next second, he thought, no matter how beautiful this woman is, she is ultimately Jianli's sworn sister. Since I can't have her, I might as well use her to bring about Shenlang's demise. Thinking this, he immediately spoke up. "Your Majesty, esteemed officials, now everyone knows the truth. This woman is the wanted criminal of the Great Flame Empire, Shuayin. The Great Flame Emperor has decreed that capturing her can lead to rewards or execution on the spot, and Shenlang, harboring a wanted criminal and failing to report it, should be punished by exterminating his entire clan according to the laws of the Great Flame. Now that both witness and suspect are present, please, Your Majesty, make your judgment." The sovereign frowned, scrutinizing Shuayin closely, and then ordered Li Ji quickly summon all officials from the Great Flame Empire's liaison office station in Yu Kingdom to identify the wanted criminal. After Li Ji departed with the orders, Shenlang, who had still been unconscious, suddenly regained awareness and pointed at Shuayin, saying, "Your Majesty, we are truly wronged. This woman is indeed my aunt, Shuayin, but her "in" means attraction and not hiding. The wanted criminal is a woman over 40, while my aunt is only in her 20s. Hearing this, Zhu Wenhua sneered internally. "Shenlang, do you really think everyone is a fool? Shuayin is a grandmaster with skills to maintain her youth. It's not difficult at all." Half an hour later, a delegation led by Ambassador Yunmingza from the Great Flame Empire arrived at the Grand Hall. After greeting each other, the sovereign spoke. "Ambassador Yun, I have summoned you all here today to ask you to identify whether this woman is the wanted criminal Shuayin of the Great Flame Empire." Ambassador Yunmingza bowed and walked toward Shuayin, exchanging a glance with Shenlang as he passed by. Yunmingza subtly teased, "You've really gotten yourself into trouble this time." Shenlang shrugged dismissively, replying, "Brother, no need to worry. The point is to exaggerate, otherwise no one would believe it." Yunmingza ignored him and walked directly to Shuayin, secretly thinking, who else could possess such beauty in this world besides Shuayin? Such an unforgettable face would be recognized used even if turned to ashes. Despite being certain in his heart, Yunmingzi still kept a stern face to play along with Shenlang's act. He approached Xueyin, scrutinizing her closely, while Xueyin playfully blinked her large, captivating eyes at him, then flashed a smile that could kill. Seeing this, Yunmingzi felt his heart skip a beat and quickly turned to report to the sovereign, "Your Majesty, although this woman closely resembles Xueyin, after careful observation, I am certain she is not the fugitive Xueyin from Great Flame." Upon hearing this, Zhu Wenhua was shocked and inwardly exclaimed, "How is this possible?" Meanwhile, Shenlang let out a cold smirk, feeling triumphant inside. "Nice try, kid, but you're not clever enough to trap me."